all of our lives have been permanently altered for the unforeseeable future. With that change and unable to do what we normally do, it can create frustration, and we can start getting kind of antsy and kind of picking at each other and getting bad attitudes. And the answer to having the wrong attitude is gratitude, is thanksgiving. I'm reminded of a story in Scripture. Actually, it's one of the most famous stories in human history. It's the story of a young boy named David. And David was the youngest of many boys, and his brothers were all in Israel's army, and his father sent him to check on his brothers, and it wasn't a war like normal. There was this one guy on the other side. His name was, of course, if you know the story, Goliath, and he was a giant. And every morning he would come out and bellow out, "Hey, just send one guy, we don't need to fight." And of course, nobody really wanted to go into the valley because he was bigger than everybody else, and I wouldn't want all that on my shoulder, that if I lose, all of us have to go in captivity because I blew it. And so everybody was kind of frozen. They didn't really know what to do. And so into that situation walks this young man, some theologians believe late teens, a young man who had no experience with war, onto the scene to check on his brothers. His brothers, because of the altered and the frustration of not being able to move forward, they start picking on David. They said, "What are you doing here?" And they start giving him a hard time. And he just looks at his brothers and he said, "What am I doing here?" And here's the famous phrase. He says, "Is there not a cause? Is there not a reason for somebody to do something about this?" And that word got around, and the king at that time of Israel was Saul. And word got to him, and he said, "Show me the young man." And when he laid eyes on him, he said, "Man, I can't send you into war against Goliath. You're just a kid, and he's a man of war, and you're unskilled, and you don't know what you're doing." And he said, "Listen, I can do this. God's looked after me when I was all alone tending my father's sheep. I'm going to do what I'm gifted to do. I'm not going to use your armor." And what David used was a slingshot. And that doesn't make sense in war, to go into battle against a spear and a sword with a slingshot, but that's what he knew, and that's what he was gifted to use. And I'm thinking about all the people in our altered life that are going into work, they're going into the valley against this giant virus, not realizing, not understanding whether or not they're going to get sick from it, whether they're going to bring it home. I'm thinking about all the people that are making our food continue to come to our house, all the people delivering that food, the store people that are making it sure for us to get that food, all the essential workers, and then all the police and fire and the EMT people and the nurses and all the medical personnel that know that they're at ground zero. They're around the disease, the virus, every day. And you're making a difference. And I think the cure to having the wrong attitude is to be grateful for all of you. So right now, I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that's making it possible for us to eat, possible for us to get treatment, possible for us to have gas for our cars, and all the things that we don't even think about. Boy, we're thinking about it because you have taken your slingshot and you're making a difference and you're saving our lives. And so we want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of you, because you are making a difference and you are what makes this country great. Thank you for everything you're doing for everybody. And may God give you victory over this Goliath. We'll see you next time.